Hello and welcome to Graphics TV. I'm your host, Matt. This is a very special episode featuring one of my favorite actors, David Harewood. Let's check out what he has to say.
Well, first of all, I have to say thank you all for coming, but thank you for coming. I've kind of prepared a few things to say because obviously I have to talk about something. But I kind of wanted to kind of talk to you tonight about my career, where I'm from, how I got into the business, but also I wanted to talk to you about just the kind of beauty of randomness, of chance, of luck, and of fortune. And now sometimes you really don't need to worry, particularly as you guys, or most of you guys probably weren't even born when I was growing up here, which is extraordinary to think. This building wasn't here when I was growing up in Birmingham, again, which is extraordinary to think. So I wanted to kind of talk to you about how sometimes you don't really need to worry about your future, because it kind of takes care of itself. And I know that sometimes you may, as a student, what's going to happen down the line? Am I going to get this? Is this going to happen? I kind of want to say relax, because I think there are bigger powers at work. Don't worry, I'm not going to get religious, but I just do believe that there are bigger powers at work, and I'll prove it to you. I was born in Small Heath, which is about 10 minutes up the road, 10, 20 minutes up the road. And loved school. I loved school. I enjoyed going to school. I was always messing around at school. I was always a comedian at school. I wasn't particularly attractive, so the only way I could get the chicks, or only way I could get any attention, was to mess about. And I messed about relentlessly, to the detriment of my education. I didn't really get education. I didn't get it. I didn't understand what it was about. I didn't understand what it was for. And I regret that. So that's why I admire you guys so much, because you know what you want to do, and you've put your minds to it. And honestly, that's a fantastic thing at your age, to kind of say, I'm going to go for this, or I'm going to go for that. I admire you for that, because I was nowhere near that. I was just wandering through life thinking, God, school's great fun. My mates are really good fun. I have great fun at school. I have a laugh at school. I take the piss out of the teachers. I take the piss out of other people at school. This is great fun. And the first time I got that it was going to be different was when I remember towards the end of school, you get your exams towards the end of school, and as I say, I was always messing around. My natural instinct was to mess around, make people laugh, fool around, get people involved. I remember the exams towards the end of my school. Again, I didn't revise. I didn't know what revision really meant. I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. So I remember walking into the exam and sitting down and opening my paper and reading this list of questions, and it wasn't a history exam, reading this list of questions, and I couldn't answer any of them because I hadn't studied. And my natural instinct was to turn around and make people laugh. And I turned around and all my mates were writing. They were all getting on with it. And I thought, fuck. I thought, no, I've blown it here. I really have blown it here, because I don't know what I'm doing. I thought I was just going to keep messing around. I thought that's what life was about. So that was the first time I got a little bit of a shock. I'm going to skip forward a little bit, but one of my best mates I used to work at school with, and this will come back to the beauty of chance, the beauty of randomness, the beauty of fortune. One of my best mates at school that I met when I was 8 years old, a guy called Louis, Italian guy. Used to go off to Italy every couple of months, and every August we'd go to Italy and spend time with his parents in Italy. He was my best mate. And we used to laugh all the time when we were at school. He was really funny guy, very handsome guy, Italian, very stylish. And me and him were always kind of partners in crime as we were growing up. And he died about 2 years ago. 42 years old. Routine knee operation, should have been in and out in 20 minutes, and he died on the operating table, just completely out of the blue. And it was the first time I was smashed to pieces. Smashed to pieces. That's the first time I got life. The first time was when I got education. The seriousness of education was the exam. But this was the first time I got life. And I didn't work for a year, almost a year. I couldn't get my head together. 42 years old, 2 kids, 2 little kids. He died on my daughter's birthday. Randomness. Randomness. On my daughter's 4th birthday, his wife lost her father when she was 4. Random. So I didn't work for a year. The first time I did work, I remember going to an audition the first time when I started to try and get myself back into it. I started trying to get myself back into being an actor. And I remember reading this quote. It's a quote by Jack Lemmon. He says that for an actor to be a truly great actor, he has to cultivate vulnerability. And I'd never really understood that. I'd walk on stage and I'd be confident, bold as brass. I'm that kind of guy, I just feel confident. I always felt really strong on stage. So I'd walk on stage and feel really strong. Never felt vulnerable, I always felt confident. But when Louis died, I had a complete meltdown. Like I couldn't act. I couldn't get my head together. So I did this, about 9 months went by and I did this play. And it was the first time I'd been on stage after about 9 months. And I tell you, I was really nervous. It was as if I'd walked on, as if I'd never acted before. And I felt very vulnerable, very scared. And that was the first time I got it. I understood that it wasn't about being bulletproof. It wasn't about being strong. It wasn't about being Mr. Confident. Art or creation can spring from some of the most miserable, uncomfortable moments in your life. They're very valuable experiences. All those experiences are very valuable. So you don't have to always know. You don't have to always be strong. You don't have to be always on it. That's when I got it. That's when I got life. I suddenly thought, Now, I'm sure you're familiar with the series Homeland. Can you believe this? I'll tell you this. Thinking about Louis and me not working for 9 months, I auditioned for Homeland in October of 2009. And because I was doing this play, which was being written every day, the writer was in the rehearsal rooms, so she was rewriting the play every day. And so I had lots of stuff to learn. And I got this thing from my American agent. It was the first thing that he'd sent me. After a year, he kind of said, "Are you ready now?" I said, "Yeah, let's start having some scripts." It was the first thing that he'd sent me. And he sent me like 10 pages, 15 pages of dialogue for my character, Estes. And I thought, well, I'm doing this play. I can't possibly learn this because I'm reading this play, which is being rewritten every day. So I just thought, I'm not even going to bother. I thought, I'm not going to bother. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the camera. I was in my bedroom. I was in my bedroom at home. I put the camera on top of a little flip video camera, put it on top of the speaker, and I sat in front of it. My missus read the offlines. And I just went, bollocks. Hit record, read it. Just read it into the camera. Read it, press stop. Edited it on my Mac. David Harewood, this is my agent, this is my address. Sent it. Forgot all about it. Forgot all about it. Just thought, no chance. Me? Get that? No chance. About a month later, I was deciding whether or not to, I did a thing called Frankenstein's Wedding. And I was deciding whether or not to take the job. And taking the job would mean that I would not be able to go to America as soon as I was supposed to go to America the following year. And I phoned my agent up and I said, look, I'm thinking about doing this thing called Frankenstein's Wedding, and it's going to mean I don't go to America. As when I do, he went, stop right there. He said, you are this close to getting Homeland. I said, what's Homeland? He said, you auditioned for it about a month ago. And I went, fuck, Homeland? That was really good. He said, yeah, you're this close to getting it. So a couple of phone calls, a couple of random phone calls. My agent in America said, you might get a phone call over the weekend. So Saturday morning, I'm in my house, and I'd done a little bit of research on the writers of Homeland, and they wrote 24, which was one of the biggest hits ever. And a guy called Alex Ganzer was the showrunner. He was the producer of 24. And I'm in my kitchen making a cup of tea, and my phone rings. Pick it up. Hello? Hey, David, it's Alex Ganzer. The producer of 24 is ringing me on my mobile. I'm like, hello? Yeah, what can I do for you? He says, look, we love your tape. We love your tape. We really want you to do it. You know, we're really interested. You've just blown everybody away. We think you're fantastic. We really want you to do it. I said, well, you know, great. I said, well, you know, he said, but there's one thing. The head of the channel, who owns the whole channel, you know, we've never given a job to somebody we've never met before from a tape. It's just never been done before. And he's really worried because he doesn't know who you are, he doesn't know what your track record is, he doesn't even know your name, he doesn't know what you've done. So I said, well, look, if he's that nervous about it, I said, let me do it again, let me audition again, and let me do my accent a bit better. And he went, could you do that? I went, yeah, sure, no problem. So he put the phone down, I phoned up my mate, and I said, look, can you come on over and read my offlines for me? And he said, well, look, funny you should say that, because I've got an audition as well. So I'll tell you what, you do your audition and I'll read your offlines, you do mine and I'll read your offlines. I said, so what's your audition? And he said, that's just a thing called Homeland. I said, cool, okay, just come on over. Thinking I can't tell him that I just had the producer on the phone. The guy turns up, he's my build, looks just like me, he's reading the same part. Now, so I set my recorder up and I do mine. And he's like, that's fantastic, fantastic. So I edit it on my Mac, and I do the same thing, and I send it off, and then I say, okay, your turn. So as I'm filming him now, as I'm filming him do his first scene, my phone starts buzzing in my pocket. And I go, just 1 second. It's the producer. I said, give me a second. Run in the other room. What's going on? And he said, well, look, Dave, we just got your tape. It's fantastic. Can you do me one more favor? Can you just do it again and do this scene different? I went, okay. So I put the phone down, ran back in the other room, and I couldn't tell my friend. How could I tell him that basically I've got the job? Not basic. No, I didn't actually have the job, but I was very near to having the job. So I had to wait, and my man kept forgetting his lines. He kept saying, I want to do it again. I want to do it again. I want to do this bit again. 2 twos now. He's there for like 4 hours. My battery's drained down to, you know, on my thing. And it's one of those USB, one of those, you know, the flip videos, you have to plug it into a USB. You can't just charge the thing up. So I was like, okay, it looks fantastic. It looks great. Just go home, you know. Leave my house. So eventually he basically, he's happy with the tape. He goes. I then have to run up the stairs, get my girlfriend out of bed, tell her to come downstairs, and read these offlines for me. So she's reading the offlines, I do it again, I email it, I shove it off. I'm waiting, about 3 o'clock, and this is now 2 o'clock in the morning, which is 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I think, LA time, which is when it's really strange. I start getting calls from LA when I'm going to bed, and they're deciding on whether or not I'm going to do the job, and I'm getting all these phone calls. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then all of a sudden I get this contract through. Sign this contract. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh, I said, I would have signed anything. I didn't know what it was. I went, yep, David Harewood. Yeah. Signed. So I signed, and then phone was dead. No one's phoning me. Email my agent. Can I go to bed now? 3 o'clock in the morning. Yes, go to bed. So I go to bed, wake up in the morning. I'm wandering around thinking, what on earth is going to happen? What's going on? Oh, I got it. Have I not got it? Phone rings. My American agent. All he said was, congratulations. I said, for what? He says, just check your email. Check my email. There it was. Contract. We are pleased to offer you the part of David Estes in Homeland. And my missus looked at me and she said, do you know what day it is? I said, no. It was Louis' birthday. My best mate's birthday. Randomness. Beauty of randomness. On his birthday, I get the job of a lifetime. The job that he's always told me I was going to get. Blew me away. Blew me away. Do you know how much money I had the weekend before I got Homeland? 80 quid. I hadn't worked for a year. I was skint. I was down to my last pennies. 80 quid. I'm nearly going under. Got to stay strong. Got to stay strong. Got to hang on. That was just a random story there. I'm going to flick it back now. I just wanted to tell you that because that is the beauty of randomness. It's happened to me a few times in my life. I didn't want to be an actor. I didn't even know what an actor was. Flicking back to school now, 27 years ago. It's a long time, man. 27 years ago, I was at school. Just about to leave school. And like I said, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I'd done my exams. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what it was all about. And I got a phone call from my teacher. And he said, come in and see me. I want to, come in and talk to me. So I got on the bus, went to school, Washburn Heath School. And he said, what are you going to do when you leave? And I really hadn't thought about it. I just had no idea what I was going to do with my life. Again, that's why I admire you all for doing what you're doing. It's fantastic that you've set your wheels in motion. It's great. Because I didn't. So, he said, what are you going to do when you leave? I said, I don't know. He said, well, I think you should be an actor. Light bulb moment. I hadn't thought about being an actor. Didn't know what an actor was. I said, well, okay. Sounds good. I'll give that a go. So I auditioned at the Birmingham Youth Theatre. They said no. 2 days later, I auditioned at the National Youth Theatre. They said yes. Random. Missed Birmingham, went to London. Went down to London and just had 6 weeks of the most fantastic fantastic time with these other people just like me who could mess about, who could play, could imagine, could create, could improvise, could make things up, just like me. It was kind of like professional messing about. I thought, I could do that. I could do that. So I auditioned there. I had 6 weeks at the National Youth Theatre, and I remember one improvisation in particular. It was all about the death of a child. And I got really kind of into it. I got really emotional. Yeah, and again, I'm used to kind of messing around. I'm used to being a clown. But when I started tapping this other reserve, this reserve of emotion, it just came out of nowhere. I was just this raging madman. Everybody in this audition was like, wow. I remember after that, the producer, the director came up to me and he said, you've got to be an actor. You've got a lot of talent. I didn't know that. He said, I said, well, what do I do? He said, well, you should go to drama school. So I went back to Birmingham. I went to my teacher and I said, well, he said I should go to drama school. How do I do that? So we looked at, I just literally went to the top of the list and went down the list and thought, I didn't know one drama school from another. I knew nothing about drama school. I knew nothing about auditioning for drama school. I knew nothing. So I auditioned, I wrote off to a load of drama schools, which my teacher helped me write all these auditions for. I got a load of auditions. I auditioned for like 3 places straight out and got 3 rejections straight away. You get used to rejection in this business. All of them said no, not interested. And then the 4th place, I won't tell you what it was, said yes, we'll accept you, we'll take you on, teach you how to be an actor. I thought, fantastic, great. So I cancelled. I mean, the top 5 drama schools are RADA, Webber Douglas, Drama School, Central, and can't remember the other one. Don't even know what they are. Lambda. That's the top 5 drama schools. I didn't know that, so I cancelled all of them. All of them. Cancelled. And was going to this random place in the middle of nowhere, thinking that I'm going to be an actor. That's what you do. So I cancelled all these auditions. Again, randomness, chance. About a week later, I get this phone call from RADA saying, why didn't you turn up for your audition? And very quickly I thought, they didn't get my letter. Didn't get the letter. So I thought, blagged it. And then I thought, okay, so they didn't get my cancellation. So I said, well, is there another opportunity? And they said, well, actually, you're very lucky because someone's just dropped out. So can you make it down here tomorrow? I said, yeah, sure. So that night, I learnt a new speech, a new song. Got on the train at New Street, next day. Random. No thought of where I was. Didn't even know where RADA was. Got to London, had to find RADA, walked in, and it's the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, where all these famous big-time actors have gone. And I just bowled in, completely bowled in. I went, yeah, I'm David Harewood. He said, yeah, great. Here's your turn. Sit down, do your thing. Got through the whole day, and basically, throughout the day, they kind of get rid of people. And you know if you make it to the end, you've got half a chance. And I made it right to the end of the day, and it was between me and this girl. And I went in, and the guy said to me, have you got anything else you could show me? So I just made up this speech, just made it up on the spot. I was having such a great day. And I'm used to doing that. I'm used to messing around. So I just made up this whole speech. The guy was falling about laughing. And then he said, thank you very much, we'll let you know. I thought, I've blown it. And back in the day, if you got like a thick letter, it meant you got in, because they were sending you all the stuff and all the bump, and that's what I realised. If they get you a thin letter, it was just, no, sorry. And I woke up one morning, I thought, I think there's a letter downstairs. I went downstairs and opened the door, and there was a thin letter there for me. I thought, fuck. Picked it up, and it just said, all I read was, we are pleased to offer you a place at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. I was like, what? Going to RADA. Randomness. They didn't get my letter. To this day, I don't know what happened to that letter. I remember I posted all 5 of them. That one didn't arrive. Random. I remember my first day at RADA. I'm sitting there, and they're talking about Brecht, and Molière, and Chekhov. I'm like, who the fuck are that? I was like, and it came round to me, and he said, what do you think of Dostoevsky? I said, I've never heard of him. He said, really? I said, no. I said, I've never heard of him. I said, I've probably read 2 plays in my life. You know, I'm just not from that school. I'm very, very, you know, I went on a fantastic journey at RADA, a literary journey, which I suppose that was probably my first taste of real education. Because suddenly I was reading plays and reading poetry and reading Russian literature and French farces, and it was just this whole world opening up to me of literature. And I didn't really know anything before that. It was a real beautiful, fantastic time. It was funny, you're taught to, because when I went to RADA, I was taught like that, you know, most of the time, you know. When I was from Birmingham, you know, I used to talk like that from Birmingham, you know. And my first term after getting back, they would encourage you to speak properly. So I remember going home and, Mother, don't have a bath, Mother. My mum was like, you can get the fuck out of here. She was really scared. She thought I was going crazy. Because, you know, I'm speaking like a posh person. But they encourage you to do that. You have to kind of do that. And it's a big argument, because a lot of people at drama schools don't do it. A lot of people at drama schools will say, no, I'm from Liverpool, I'm going to keep my Liverpool accent. I'm from Glasgow, I'm going to keep my Glaswegian accent. I was like, nah, forget that. Not because I don't like the Birmingham accent, because I want to play everything. So for me to play everything, I have to attain a neutrality. Sometimes that's been a burden for me, because people have said, you're not black enough. You speak too posh. So black people have gone, nah, you're not black enough. Other people have said, you know, you get that stick. It's a lot, you know, you have to deal with that. When I came out of drama school, there was a whole section of the community who were like, you're not black enough because you're too posh, which really was painful for me. But in the end, I just had to just go my own way. I had to say, well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to speak the way I speak. I'm going to speak properly. And if I want to play a part where I have to do something else, I'll do that. So I had my fair share of stick. But where was I? Randomly going off on tangents. that's how I really kind of enjoyed the experience of going to RADA. I think I went off on a tangent there because the colour thing came in. And the colour thing came in because that was another huge issue for me. I was never a black kid when I was in Birmingham. I was just David. I grew up with Indian kids, and Irish kids, Italian kids. We were all Brummies. But when I got to London, it was weird because suddenly I was like, you know, the black people did that, and white people did that, and it really confused me. It really confused me. Because I've never really had to deal with that. And particularly when I came out of drama school. When I came out of drama school now, suddenly I wasn't an actor, I was a black actor. And that was the first time I'd had to confront those issues. Limitations. Drama school, I could play anything. I played King Lear, play Macbeth, play the King of France, play anything. Came out of drama school, oh no, you can't play that now. Because black actors don't play those roles. And he really spanned me out to the point where I actually had a breakdown. I had a nervous breakdown. Potty. Actually got sectioned in London, which I have to say was a fantastically funny time. Up to a point. Up to a point, it was really fantastic. Fantastic ideas going into my head and doing all these weird things. And I can remember actually being carted into a psychiatric hospital one night and hearing somebody speak crackers. Just random. It was fun. It was fun. And when I kind of got better, when my mother said to me, "You're never doing Shakespeare again." My mother said to me, "You're moving back to Birmingham and you're never going to London again. You're never acting again because that stuff sends you crazy." I said, "Mom, no, it was just me reaching out and pushing the boundaries and doing something random." I don't know why I told you about that. But I'm quite honest. I've got nothing to... I'll be honest with you. I might be puncturing some of your illusions. You think I'm some kind of great act. And I'm very proud of that. And it's taken me a long way. I've done theatre, television, radio, all the art forms, worked with people who are far more intelligent than me, worked with people who have, done far more than me. But I just have this sense that I know where I know where I'm from. I know the people I'm from. I know what I am. And I think I know what I can give. So I've never been daunted by anything. I might have been afraid once or twice, but I'm never daunted by anything. Adam, can we look at Homeland? I'm going to show you the first scene in Homeland. Now, play that.
Last night, at 2300 GMT, one of our ground assets produced a live lead on an enemy operating base in the Harewood Valley.
Stop it. I hate that. I hate it for... I'll tell you why. Having got the job, and there was then this 4-month wait. We shot the pilot, we shot that, and then there was 4 months. So that's what's called a pilot episode, when the network and all the money people go, this could work. Okay, let's put money into it and do a series. But let's replace him. And let's replace her. And let's cut his hair and change that. And that's what they did. 2 people got sacked after that. We were all shooting that thinking, any minute now, I'm going to get fired. Because there are people, as you are doing your work, there are people with headphones on, watching everything you do. And then when they shout cut, they all go. Action. You're so insecure. And not only was I really insecure, but as I say, this was the first job I'd done after my friend's death. So I hadn't worked in a year. I didn't have my wheels, I didn't have the wheels, I didn't have everything working. So I kind of got to Charlotte. We shoot in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I thought, I don't know who this character is. I don't know who this person, what this person sounds like. And I mean, this is an Ivy League, you know what Ivy League is, right? Kind of really highly intelligent group of people. People in the CIA are some of the like top 5% of the population in terms of intelligence. So all the reference points that I had for voices were all Chris Rock and basketball players, and you know, I didn't have any kind of what you might call professional black American voices in my head. I didn't know what they sounded like. So I just made it up. And I kind of got there and I just turned on CNN and I thought, I'm just going to listen to CNN all the that was my dialect training, listening to CNN. I hadn't thought about practicing my accent. But I wasn't scared. I just thought, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to throw myself in, I'm going to go for it. But listening to that, it's way off. And when I watched that, I was just so embarrassed and so nervous, because I thought they were going to sack me right there and then. Really, I thought I was out the door. So that's a really painful thing for me to hear. They all bought it. They all thought, yeah, it's great. But I knew it wasn't right. I knew it wasn't good enough. So I hired myself a dialect coach. I asked them to get me a dialect coach. And I worked with a dialect coach for the next 5 months. Every time I had a script, I'd sit there and I'd go through my dialect with this coach. I feel a bit more confident. I'm a lot more confident now, because now I've practiced it. Now I know. It's one thing to do an accent. It's another thing to act in that accent. Doing an accent's easy, but expressing yourself honestly in an accent is really tough. And that's what I found with this. I found that at first I was so locked in to a pattern, so it was uncomfortable. The whole pilot shoot for me was really uncomfortable. I really didn't feel confident. And I remember there's another scene, which is, you haven't got on here, but there's another scene where it was an exterior scene. It was actually my first day filming. It was an exterior scene, and it was -5 degrees outside. And I don't know whether you noticed that when it's cold, you just can't move your lips. I sounded like I was from Pakistan. I mean, it was the worst American accent I've ever heard. And I just thought, they're going to sack me on the spot. They're going to sack me. At the end of the day, they came up to me and they said, look, it's great what you're doing, but I think we need to do some more work on the accent. And it crushed me, man. Crushed me. So I got home and I just phoned up my agent in my American accent and spoke to my American agent, and he said, you sound fantastic. So I said, well, I'm just going to stay like this. I'm just going to speak in my American voice for the net. That's it. Not speaking in my British voice. Went down for breakfast next day. Can I get 2 eggs over easy, and I'll take sausage and whatever you got. Meg looked at me and she went, sure. By the end of the week, she came up to me, she said, where are you from? I said, why? She said, well, I'm sure on your first day you came in here, you were like from the UK. But now you sound like you're American. I was like, yeah, I'm an actor, I'm doing this thing, so I'm just going to stay in my voice, and I'm sorry if I'm confusing you. And she was like, oh my God, he is from the UK. And then this guy ran and he said, do your UK accent. And I had to think about it. I'd convinced myself that much. I'd convinced my ear that much. That's what happens when you get out. It's hard to do it here, because everyone knows that I'm English. But as soon as I get on that plane to go to America, I'm a Yank. And it's great, because actually you realize it's easier to be a Yank. Because the minute you open your mouth and you're British, they're going to go, oh, where are you from? Don't need that conversation. I'll take 2 of those, 3 of those, and thank you very much. Thank you. Good night. Gone. I don't need the conversation of how long you're here for, what, forget it. So I stay in my American voice, which is a lot easier to say, a lot easier to do. You got the second Blood Diamond. Anyone seen Blood Diamond? I'll take another thing about randomness, about chance and randomness. Play this scene. Yeah. Play this scene. Play. Ah, not this one. Not this one. Not this one. Not this one. The Oh, actually, no. I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a story about this scene. Young man, you must understand. The government wants you to vote, okay? They don't tell you, say, the future is in your hands. We are the future. So we take your hands. No more hands, no more voting. Chop it. Stop me there, stop me there. So, here's a story about that scene there. We were about to shoot it. And the kid put his hands out over the boat like he does. And the guy lifted the axe. I just heard someone go, "Cut! Cut!" There was no rubber axe. It was a real axe, you know. And the guy just thought, I'm just going to... No one said stop. No one said switch to the fake axe. It was a real axe. So I just said cut! And the director said, "Why'd you shout cut?" I said, "The man's going to chop his fucking hands off." He went, "Oh shit, yeah, we didn't realise. Sorry." It was a real axe. My man would have had his arms chopped off because the guy doing the chopping wasn't an actor, didn't even speak English. So all he was going to do was extraordinary. So then when I say chop him, that was all me. I then basically went, okay, I know what I'm doing. When I say chop him, that means you do this, then you're going to shout cut, and the director's sitting there going, okay, Dave, great. Okay. Switch to this, let's play this scene here. This isn't really, it's another book that I got out in that scene, the little blue book. It's a real RUF manual. I'll tell you about that in a minute.
May I remind you that the US is responsible for 2/3 of all diamond purchases worldwide, and I don't anticipate that demand diminishing.
We must remember that these stones comprise only a small percentage of the legitimate diamond industry, whose trade is crucial to the economies of many emerging nations.
Go back a bit. Keep going. Keep going.
Got the film.
Okay, I want to tell you this because, again, it's about the randomness of things. Pressure. No pressure.
No pressure.
But the book, the little blue book, it's a real... The guys I'm playing a member of the RUF. It's okay, don't worry about it. If you can.
Yeah, you tell me where it is and I'll cue it up.
I think it's before... Keep going back a bit. Oh, no, maybe it's before, it's after that. I haven't seen it for a while.
It's not the guy that you discovered.
It's when I'm chatting, when I'm shouting, the RUF are fighting body people. It's just before I shoot the guy.
Patrick.
Is it? Just keep playing. Yeah, play that. Just play number 4. Keep playing number 4. Hopefully.
According to a devastating report by Global Witness, these stones are being used to purchase arms and finance civil war. We must act to prohibit the direct or indirect import of all rough diamonds from conflict zones.
May I remind you that the US is responsible for 2/3 of all diamond purchases worldwide, and I don't anticipate that demand diminishing.
We must remember that these stones comprise only a small percentage of the legitimate diamond industry, whose trade is crucial to the economies of many emerging nations.
The Freetown government and their white masters have left your land to feed their greed. RUF have freed you. No more slave and master here.
It's true, current estimates are that conflict stones account for only 15% of the market. But in a multi-billion-dollar-a-year industry, that means hundreds of millions of dollars are available for weapons in these conflict zones.
RUF is fighting for the people! RUF is fighting for Sierra Leone! Any bastard picking will joke with me, diamond, I go cut his throat.
And we are joined today by members of that diamond industry who wholeheartedly endorse your proposal. I hope you join me in applauding their presence here. Mr. Van de Kaap and Mr. Simmons.
Give it to me. Great. Great fun to play baddies. Really great fun to play baddies. But all that's, I'm going to tell you a story about Blood Diamond. I auditioned for it in London. Ed Zwick, the director, the part was actually written for a child soldier. It was written for a boy, somebody who was like 10 to 15 years old, but I couldn't find anybody. So he was coming back through London, and he'd seen me on stage at the National the year before. So he said, well, can I see that guy David Harewood? I didn't know that, but... So I walked in, and my daughter had just been born the night before. Randomness. So I was kind of all full of love for my child, and we started talking about children, and then he said, okay, so go and do this. Can I see what you got to do? And suddenly, from talking about the love of my child, I became this nasty, vicious, ugly guy. And he was like, wow, you can talk about love and be really gentle, but then you can be really mean and also quite funny. That's what I want. I want that. So he basically said to me, he basically gave me the job on the spot. He kind of said, I'll see you in May. As I walked out the door, he went, I'll see you in May. I went, what? He went, I'll see you in May. I went, yeah, right. And I walked off. And then about a month later, I got this phone call from my agent saying, you've got Blood Diamond. It's like, wow, it's a great part. It's a little, it's only, and actually, he was only in one scene in the film. That character's only in one scene. So on the plane, and it's really funny, when you get these movies, it's completely different to theatre and stuff. You get the big car comes out, the big car comes to your door, and the driver comes up, knocks on your door and goes, Mr. Harewood, yes, takes your bags, and he goes to your car, and you walk out your street, you get into the stretch limo and, you know, waving at your kids, and you drive, you know, and you're kind of whisked off to Heathrow, first class, Heathrow, never been first class before. Walked in the first class, drinking everything and eating everything. And I must have looked like such a scavenger. I didn't realise in first class you don't pay for nothing. As soon as I realised you don't pay for nothing, I was eating everything, man, and red wine and champagne. Gets to where were we? That film we filmed in South Africa. So I'll get to South Africa. And there's a new script for me when I get there at my hotel. And I read this script, and my part's all in French. I said, I don't speak French. He said, yeah, well, it's a rewrite. We're thinking of making a character French. I said, nah, that's not going to work. Because I don't know what the guy's talking about. So how's that going to work? Oh, we'll get you a dialect coach, and we'll get you a linguist. And I said, nah, that's not going to work. It's got to be in African. So then they said, oh, Ed wants to see you. And I read the scripts that I said, I need an English script before I see Ed. So I read this, except they reprinted an English script. And again, I'm only in one scene. I don't know if you've seen the movie, but the guy's all over it, right? So I read the scene that he's in, and I thought, this is a good character, man. So when Ed asked to see me, I walked into Ed and I said, straight away, and I'd only met him once before, I said, Ed, I said, you're missing a big trick with this character. He should be in all of these scenes, man. He looks at me, obviously just trying to make your part bigger. I said, no, I swear to you, you're missing a trick here. This guy is a great character. He needs to be in more of the film. He went, all right, well, we'll see. So, cut forward now, 2 weeks later, I'm on set. No, it's all right, not you. Cut forward now. So I'm on set 2 weeks later doing this scene, and the props guy, out of nowhere, randomness, gives me this real RUF manual. And the RUF was like, it's kind of pseudo-Marxist crap about protecting the people, fighting for Sierra Leone, all this stuff. And as I'm in between takes, I'm reading it. So I start saying all these lines. RUF is fighting for the people! RUF is fighting for Sierra Leone! Just kept saying it. And every now and again they go, hey! And Ed Zwick, the director, came up to me and said, that's not in the script. I said, I know, I'm just saying it. He said, keep going, keep going. So I just kept going. All that is improvised. And he just kept filming. He kept changing the angles and more. Changing the angles and cutting away to all these people working in the mines. More, David, more. I just kept improvising. And then at the end of the day, he came up to me and he went, you're absolutely right about that character. That night, he went to Leonardo DiCaprio's hotel and they rewrote the film and put my character, Captain Poison, in about 8. Your favourite scene with me, with the boy, making him captain. That was not in the film. He wrote it for me because of what I was doing. Because he said, you're absolutely right. That character should be in the film. Next day, Leonardo DiCaprio came up to me on set and went, really like what you're doing with the script. I think it's fantastic. I think it really adds a whole level to the, obviously in his American accent, it really adds a whole level of complexity to the film. I think it's fantastic. I was like, oh, thanks, Leo. And when people see that film, they say, okay, so why didn't you, how come you weren't a big shot after that film? Because it wasn't meant to be that way. When you read the listings, when you at the end of the film, you can't really see my character anyway. You don't really see the name David Harewood because it wasn't meant to be that way. I just made an impact because of the random nature of the props guy giving me this little booklet. So I just made it up. I think I want to take some questions now. I've now been acting probably for about 28 years. Homeland has really been great for me. It's put me on a whole new plane, which is really exciting for me as an actor, because for years I've done a lot of work in the UK and never quite got there. Suddenly I'm in a hit show and it's just changed everything. I got an MBE as well this year, which was extraordinary. So it seems that Louis, my mate who died, finally worked out who to talk to up there. Because not only did I get Homeland on his birthday, I got the MBE on the day that he got married. And I just feel that he's close. I feel that he's the one person that was always convinced I was going to make it. And he's unfortunately the one person that I can't talk to about it. So I kind of dedicate my success to him. I can remember 3 dramas in my whole life that have ever been led by a black actor. 3. That's all. It's quite shocking, really. And people don't really like to talk about it. I'm not accusing anybody, I'm not blaming anybody, I'm not criticizing anybody, which is how it was reported. I was just saying, well, I'm just wondering why that is. You turn your TV on in America and every drama, Grey's Anatomy, ER, all of them have got leading black male characters. Just not happening here. So I was always playing the best mate from the left, or coming off stage playing a big Shakespearean character, going on TV and playing some measly little 4-line character. It was really frustrating me. And every now and again I'd see, Idris now, Idris has gone clear. And I can remember looking at it years ago, speaking to Idris in the bar, and Idris said to me, I'm going to America. I said, what are you doing that for? Why? I said, this is where the struggle is, this is where the fight is. He went, no, I'm going to go, man. I think I can have a better future over there. Look at him now. He went and he made his future. It's taken me a long time to get to America. I always knew I had to probably get to America. And now that I have got there, it's just blown up. And suddenly, all of a sudden, magically, producers here are ringing me up saying, oh, can you come and do this? Can you come and do that? If I hadn't got Homeland, they wouldn't have even bothered. It wouldn't have bothered. So it's, I don't want to come across as bitter, but sometimes it's like, well, I'm the same person I was last year. It's just that now I've played an American character. It's frustrating, but you've got to deal with it. Just got to deal with it. Does that answer your question? Oh. Anybody else? Questions? Yes? Personal favourite memory. Good question. I've had lots of really, really good memories. Really lots, but I'll tell you my least favourite, playing Romeo. Hated playing Romeo. Rubbish play. It's not a rubbish play, I just hated it. I didn't see myself as a Romeo, so I hated that. I suppose favourite was playing Hotspur at the National, which is a really big Shakespearean warrior. And I was just speaking to my agent just before you guys came in. You know, I love doing Homeland, I love doing telly, but I love the stage. And I'm really looking forward to getting back on stage, actually, because it's that's where you really earn your stripes as an actor. It's not about camera angles and lighting and sound, it's just you and the audience. So I would say Hotspur, playing Hotspur at the National. It's a really fantastic play and a great part. Great. Thank you. Well, good luck, guys. Yeah, really nice meeting you. Guys stick around for a little bit? Yeah, definitely. Good. Yeah, sure.
Just quick to say, you know how you said you took a chance and you had, it's given me a lot of inspiration. So when I was 16, I put this up to my brain. 3 days after I got my GCSEs, I had to take everything in sets. I had to take the chance to go to the next place. I had to take the chance to come to Birmingham in the first place. Everything's worked out well now, so it's good.
That's where it works out, man.
I see it from your success, and it's very good.
Nice one. Thank you very much.
Nice, Matthew. Right.
Let's go get a picture with this girl. With this lovely girl.